How does a man born over 4,000 years ago still whisper through the stones of pyramids and the scrolls of ancient medicine? In a world where most names erode with time, Imhotep carved his into the spine of civilization. He wasn't a pharaoh, he didn't lead armies, yet his intellect shaped Egypt's golden age and continues to cast a long shadow across science, architecture, and healing. Born during Egypt's third dynasty, around 2650 BCE, Imhotep rose from humble origins to become the chief advisor to Pharaoh Djoser. In an era where power was inherited, not earned, this was extraordinary. He held titles as varied as vizier, high priest of Heliopolis, physician, astronomer, engineer, and, most remarkably, master builder. While others specialised, he shifted between disciplines like a polymath, centuries ahead of his time. His mind wasn't bound by category. He connected the celestial with the structural, the spiritual with the scientific. Imhotep's most audacious achievement was architectural. Before him, Egyptian tombs were simple rectangular structures, mastabas, built from mudbrick. They sat low to the earth, modest and uniform. But Imhotep dared to experiment. With visionary flair and technical mastery, he reimagined the pharaoh's tomb not as a humble resting place, but as a sacred ascent. He stacked mastabas in diminishing layers, forming what would become the step pyramid at Saqqara, the world's first pyramid and the earliest large-scale stone construction in human history. This monument did more than house Djoser's remains. It symbolised permanence. It declared the pharaoh's connection to the gods. It introduced the concept of rising toward the heavens, visually echoing the journey of the soul into the afterlife. The scale and ambition of this structure redefined what was architecturally possible, marking the birth of a new architectural language, one Egypt would refine for centuries. Yet Imhotep's genius didn't lie only in quarried stone. He was also a pioneer of early medicine. Long before rational science took root in Greece, Imhotep approached illness not as a divine curse, but as a biological phenomenon. He diagnosed over 200 ailments and proposed practical treatments, ranging from setting dislocated limbs to using honey for wounds and willow bark for pain. While others offered prayers, he offered procedures. His writings, now lost but referenced in later texts, formed the foundation of Egyptian medical knowledge and possibly influenced later traditions across the Mediterranean. In healing as in building, he pursued order, bringing structure to chaos, understanding to mystery. His recognition of patterns, whether in the stars, the human body, or the blocks of a pyramid, speaks of a mind drawn to clarity in a world full of unknowns. Over time, Imhotep's name travelled far beyond his generation. Centuries later, the Greeks equated him with Asclepius, their god of medicine. Temples were built in his honour, where the sick would sleep in hopes of receiving cures through divine dreams. Egyptian scribes venerated him, not just as a historical figure, but as a divine presence, patron of learning, healing, and wisdom. Curiously, during his lifetime, no statues were made in his image. No grand titles boasted of his achievements. His influence spoke through innovation, not ego. He became the rare figure whose deeds were so extraordinary they morphed into legend, and eventually, divinity. Imhotep died around 2600 BCE, but millennia later, his influence still stands in stone, lives in medicine, and breathes through knowledge that refused to remain buried.